This is the second time I've tried to do this. I think it's the right one. Let's go on YouTube and see if I can actually get into the video. Oh, yay! Okay. Hello, good morning. It is Monday, and you're all at work probably, skiving, if you're listening to this, which is fine. So, today we are at Spa. This is round 6 out of 8, and it's quite a tight championship battle in Tier 2 White. We've got Raf with 138 points, Gilles is on 135 points, and Senor Fak is on 123, so it's a real close 3-horse race. And then obviously there's Perry in P4, but he's missed 2 of the 5 rounds so far. He's got 99, so 39 points off of the lead. Not a million miles out of the realm of possibility if he could win in 4 or 5 of the last 6 races, that he could actually get himself into championship position here. So that's the top 4. Then you got Higgsy, Asseldorf, Liverpool, Elian, Sarge, and Scotty in the top 10. In the constructors, it's a huge lead, about 60 points almost, for Audi over the McLarens. And then Lexus, the one-man team with Raf, is sitting in 3rd place ahead of the Alfa Romeos and Jag in 5th place. So that's that. Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. I can see a few people have joined already. Wack's not skiving because he's his own boss. Well, you can't. I think you can still skive. So let's go through this qualifying grid. Let me just get the qualifying results up. The problem is when you do comms almost a week after it's happened, you have to do a lot of scrolling to find little bits of information. Okay, so in 14th place, we've got Scotty, who set a time 5.3 seconds off the pole position time. So clearly was having a torrid time in qualifying, probably getting time penalties and aborting to the pits and all that kind of stuff that quite often happens. Scotty, I'm pretty sure, has been on pole, if not this season, then definitely last season in Tier 2. Then we've got Deco in 13th. A bit more respectable, 1.7 seconds off of pole time for Deco. Just behind Sargent in P12 and Captain Eli in P11. So 3 of the guys who were promoted from last season failing to get into the top 10 at Spa. I like that livery on Captain Eli's car. That's pretty nice. Jinx was here. Perfect Pace Racing. Okay. Wonder if that's like an eSports team or just but it's cool anyway. I like a little bit of a graffiti style. 10th place, we got Rotikos, a little bit further down than he was last time. But still not too bad. 1.1 seconds off of pole time. Still not into the 17s yet with these guys. Then we've got Asseldor in P9, the first of the Alphas. Asseldor is a bit of a specialist at Spa, so a bit surprised to see him that far down. Then we got Elian in the second Alpha, still not in the 17s yet, and Higgsy is the last man not to get into the 17s. Higgsy's P7 today with an 18.029. Then we've got Wack in P6. Wack has won Spa 4 or 5 times in Monday League. I can't remember. He won it when he was my teammate as well. He's pretty solid at Spa. So potential for a podium for Wack at this round. Then we've got our championship P2 sitter. We've got Gilles is in 5th place in the McLaren. Fluffy Boat with a really solid qualifying in the Jag is in 4th place. Senor Fak, 3rd in the championship, is 3rd on the grid. Perry, 4th in the championship, 2nd on the grid. And Raf out qualifying everyone by a huge margin, set a 17.115 in that Lexus, which you know is a pretty good car around Spa. I think he'll be fairly happy with that performance, and it's going to be a question of can he translate that incredible qualifying pace, half a second quicker than everyone else, into a race result. But before we start, if you could just do us a favour and give the video a little like, apparently it helps. So, yeah, give the video a like and we'll get going. 7 laps. Looks like it's going to be pretty dry conditions around Spa. Tier 2 White, round 6, season 20. Let's go. And it looks like a very, very good start there for Fluffy, but already up into second. He's going to try and go the long way around and take P1 off of Raf. He is fully ahead, and that is a great start for the Jag. Raf second, Perry third. Then we got Senor Fak. Everyone else getting around pretty normally. Eroticos! I spoke too soon. So, we know this Renault starts pretty fast. Unfortunately, he's going to try and go the long way around where you get no space on the exit of turn 1 in lap 1 because the amount of cars that are there. And there's Eli, and there's not much Eli can do because Higgsy's there as well. And then Eroticos just keeps the foot down on the green stuff and spins it around completely. But let's see what's going on a bit further up. We've got Eli and Higgsy side by side into a Rouge. Are they going to survive it? Eli backs out, but he's going to lose that position to Sargent as well. So Sargent up into the top 10 already. Then we've got Scotty off track, just rejoining. Deco getting past him. Eli's got a second penalty. Asseldor's got a half-second penalty as well. We've got Gilles and Senor Fak side by side. Elliot's had a great start. He is up into 4th place with Perry down behind Raf. The top 3 very close together here. So this is a great start from Fluffy. One of the first times we've seen him right at the front this season, especially in a sprint race. And he's looking all right. He's looking fairly composed in front. So we got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Top 4 are all FR cars, which is not something you really see very common this season. So yeah, the Spa circuit really suited the FR cars a bit more. Everyone is starting to gap a little bit. Let's ride on board with Perry and see if he can get close to Raf here. Perry in the GR Supra, Raf in the Lexus, Fluffy Bud in the Jag. They are starting to drop El Ian, and we're about to enter the final sector of the track, which is a really good overtaking spot, but also very high chance for incident. Perry not lifting at all there, and still managing to get away with it. There used to be a time in GT7 where if you touch that green on the left, you would instantly spin, but it is a lot more grippy nowadays, which is good. So let's see if Raf can take this next corner in the slipstream and get the position. Not quite yet. So as we brake for the bus stop chicane, everyone's taking the corner fairly decently there. You see Wax back up in 7th. Asseldor really struggling with Higgsy there to keep 8th place after he served that half-second penalty. Everyone's still super close together. Even Eroticos is quite catching up to the back of this pack as well. So everyone's still got a chance of finishing in the top 10, I reckon. Higgsy defending from Sargent now. A little bit out of shape, Higgsy, down that main straight. Then a little bit further up, it's got Raf still tucked behind Fluffy, but let's see if he can do something in the slipstream here. It looks like he did do a good job of catching up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Not enough. It's not enough. He needs to be closer. A little bit further back, Elian defending from Senor Fak, and Gilles just behind as well, ready to take advantage of anything happening here. Gilles, of course, won Spa in Tier 1. It was his only Tier 1 race win. That was in the feature. So there's a lot of people who have a lot of good records here at Spa. We've got Gilles, Wack, and Asseldor in 6th, 7th, and 8th, with loads of wins between them at Spa, but not at the front at the moment here. And no one really challenging right at the front. Raf's super close to Fluffy Butt now. Yeah, never get caught in the middle. That's always what I try to do. If you're in the middle, you're almost always gonna get pushed out. But it was actually Eroticos that got penalised the most there. Yeah, I never want to be on the outside of turn 1 at Spa, to be honest. It's just never gonna work. I can't trust people enough to give me the space, essentially. So still, Fluffy Butt is holding his own very well on lap 2 here. Raf has been trying to close this gap. It hasn't really done it in the infield section, where I would have thought that Raf would have been a little bit stronger than Fluffy Butt on that infield, but you can see the top 3 completely dropping Elian, who is holding up Senor Fak and Gilles here as well. Let's see if Senor Fak goes for the move. No, he backs out of it, tucks back in. Any other moves going on? Everyone's still pretty much where they were. Captain Eli's trying to get up into P10. Erotico's making progress. He's past Deco now. And Scotty will be next on his list. So, feels like a long time, but only 2 laps have gone. Fastest lap 17.4 from Fluffy Butt, which is super quick. I think potentially quicker than his qualifying time. And it's all going to come down to if Fluffy Butt has to lift through any of these trips up Eau Rouge and Raidillon, then he's going to get caught, and he is getting caught slightly, but again he's still got this big lead, and Perry just biding his time at the moment as well, looks pretty content to just be sitting in 3rd place at the moment. Elliot's got a bit of a gap on Senior Fac, so he must have had a good turn 1, and then Fac just holding Gilles back a little bit at the moment. Then you got the two Alphas who you left round 1 leading the Constructors' Championship, not even in the top 3 now, so the season has kind of become derailed, which kind of makes sense. The Alpha isn't the best of cars. They are trying to get some good performance out of it. It's good at specific tracks, not good at other tracks. Potentially it wasn't the right pick for 2 drivers who really enjoy winning Spa. But let's go back to the front, because Raph has caught up to Fluffy, but this is the closest that he's been since the start of the race, where he lost that lead. But Fluffy Butt hasn't put a foot wrong so far in this sprint race, and there's just no looking at the moment for Raph. This might be it though. He's definitely in some good slipstream range right now. Surely he's going to dive for it. Fluffy Butt's defending the inside, so Raph is going to try and go the long way around, maybe lifting off the brakes. He doesn't lift off the brakes, but he is getting a better line through these corners, so he might have a go into turn 1. And Perry's getting ever closer as well. Still very quick pace from the front guys. Yeah, well, Fluffy's doing a much better job at this Jag than I was. I was about 7th all race long. It looks like something's happened to... Oh dear, what's happened? He's kind of on his own here. Just too much steering lock and too much throttle, and that might be a top 10 out of the question now for Elliot. He's in 8th, but he's got Sargent, who's going to get past him. He's got Eli behind him with a half second, so that's quite helpful for him. Higgsy's completely dropped outside the top 10, but we're interested in this battle at the front, because Raph is still, well, this is as close as being on the back on this straight in the whole race. Is he going to send it? No, he just still can't catch up, but here's Perry now. Perry's going to start putting a bit of pressure on Raph, so it's really a case of overtake or be overtaken at this point for Raph. He could get a P1 or a P3 by the end of this lap. This is good for Raph in terms of the championship, because he is 3 positions currently ahead of Gio, so he has to think about that a little bit as well as he's trying to chase down Fluffy, but doesn't want to get into any incidents that's going to cost him. Fluffy still defending. The good thing about the Jag is it is really good out of corners when you don't spin it. And Fluffy Butt's showing that, because Raph just can't even attempt a half move at any of these corners in the infield section, which he has been able to do against other cars at other tracks. And here comes Perry as well. He's going to get the double slipstream down Blanchimont. Here we go. This surely has to be it. Fluffy Butt going defensive again, and he's got a half-second penalty. Oh. After all that hard fighting, let's see where that happened. Oh, and there's been an incident, so we'll go back to that. I want to see where he's... Ah, here we go. This is what kept happening to me, and I kept used to think, like, what is going on here? I'm not off the track, but you are. So that is unfortunate for Fluffy. That might cost him the win, going off the track very slightly there. Now let's see what's going to happen here. A little bit of contact between Raf and Fluffy Butt in the chicane. Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't think this was reported, was it? I don't know. So going into the corner, Raf's not really a feature at this stage. And then Fluffy's already turning, and Raf kind of, yeah, I'd put that on Raf. I would have given that 5 seconds for Raf personally. And here comes Perry. So he's got ahead of Raf as a result of that. Fluffy Butt managed to get the lead of the race back, so potentially Raf lifted there. Now Perry, all of a sudden, is in prime position to win this race, having just sat behind the two of them for the opening 4 laps here. So the pressure really is on for Raf now to try and get that spot back as quickly as possible. And he's stuck to his bumper really well there through the dirty air up Eau Rouge, has Raf. Perry's slowly catching Fluffy Butt. Fluffy Butt doesn't have any slip, and Perry is in that Supra, which does have the better high end. He's going to try and go the long way round. And it looks like P1 pretty straightforward there. Fluffy Butt and Raf making a bit more contact. Maybe Fluffy not feeling like letting Raf go too quickly here because of what happened at the final corner. Although half a second doesn't actually penalise you too much. But here comes Senor Fak. He's caught up to these guys already. And Fluffy Butt kind of skirts around that final corner. Raf gets the position, but it might be damage done because Perry's definitely at least 2 seconds up at the moment. Now, what's Senor Fat going to do? Because Fluffy's actually at risk of losing this whole podium here, which potentially, if he'd been a little bit cleverer in terms of letting these guys pass, although you can't know that we're going to get past anyway, then he wouldn't be so close to Senor Fat right now, and Gilles. So this could be a couple of positions lost potentially, especially because Fluffy Butt's just gone into the wall. Too much pressure on this lap, clearly. Maybe a little bit annoyed by the half-second penalty. Maybe it's the tyres starting to lose a bit of grip. But basically what we saw happen to Elian at the start, he's gone too wide, he's kept the foot floored, and he's just gone straight into that wall there. And it might not be a top 10 now for Fluffy. So there goes Sargent. Here is Ian and Higgsy and Captain Eli, who can't get their way past, but they will get a position. Well, Eli will, surely. Fluffy Butts needed to get pushed through the corner because he was going so slowly. And here is everyone pretty close together. Eli had to going off the track there. Bit more contact between them. If I'm Eli, I'm dropping back a little bit here because these two are going side by side. And just to get the better line and try to get the more speed. Elliot's completely off the track. Now, Higgsy seems to have gotten the positions on everyone there, so that's been a good couple of corners there for Higgsy. A little bit of contact between Elliot and Eli, which I don't think is going to matter too much because Eli gets a pretty solid exit there. They're going to drag race down into turn 1. Then you got Eroticos and Fluffy Butt. Eroticos getting a half second. Fluffy Butt down from 1st to 11th, pretty much in a lap, and going for a bit of a desperate move there as a result of it. Gets the position. So at least he's in that reverse grid pole. Sargent and Wack going side by side. Wack's got a half second penalty. That might be Groy because he was completely off track there. Sargent might get a penalty as well. A little bit hairy for both of them. Yeah, half a second for Sargent, 1 second for Wack. What's going on at the front? Perry's miles away ahead already. Then you have Raf, Senor Fak and Gilles with Astor and Faith. Then we'll have to see what happens with these two. They're probably going to fall into the clutches of Higgsy, whose race is suddenly looking a lot better than it was, because he might be able to get Sargent and Wack here with good infield section. And Erotico's dropping back to 14th again, but still everyone's really close on this grid. It is coming down to minor issues that people are having, which is causing the field spread here. The fastest guys are making the mistakes, and the slowest guys are just hanging on in there. So stick with Wack and Sarge. They're about to serve the penalties now, and Higgsy might be able to get a top 6 out of this. So is it going to be 2 positions? Wax trying the old go on the grass strat for his second, which I think worked pretty well because Sargent's only slightly ahead of him and he might not lose this spot to Higgsy. Higgsy's going to have to lift here to avoid collecting Wax. Sargent's got another half-second penalty. Now, what can Higgsy do? He was really good around this corner in the previous lap getting those positions. Not so much this time. What is going on back there? Was that 4 wide through the chicane? Hold on. So let's ride with Scotty, because he was somehow with these guys at the top, so everyone's about to get in each other's way. Someone's going to get in a penalty there. Ooh. I mean, it's not the best driving, but I think it's just racing incident, because no one was willing to give up that corner there. So Scotty's just got past 3 drivers very easily, because they all refused to get out of each other's way. Then you've got Fluffy still in P10. Ali has been knocked out of the top 10, as has Captain Eli, down into 13th. We have started the final lap now. I think there is definitely a lot more elbows out in the battle for P10 for sure, more often than not. Calculated risks, maybe. People do get their elbows out with me when they're trying to get P10 off me in a sprint, which happens quite a lot because that's kind of my pace. P10 and then hope for the best in the future. Sarge with his half-second penalty needs to have the best infield section of his life here to avoid losing that position back to Whack at the end of the race. But this is going to be a really good result for Sarge if he keeps P6, because he has had a bit of a baptism of fire in this season. He is in the top 10 in the standings, but no like standout moments just yet in tier 2. Just some consistent, you know, P8 to P10, 11 and 12 all season long really for Sarge. He is Whack under a lot of pressure from Higgsy now as well. The Audi seems to be super quick around here. So Higgsy's in a great position for this feature race. Scotty's already dropped down to 10th, so he's had an issue. And then Captain Eli with a half-second penalty might lose a spot to some of these guys at the back. But let's join on board with Perry, because he is taking the last couple of corners in this GR Supra to take a win in the sprint race at Spa. Really solid driving, bit opportunist to get the win. Was the one at the front who didn't make the mistakes, and he takes the win ahead of Raf. Senor Fag brings it home in 3rd, and Shields is in 4th, and then Asseldor spawns out of nowhere into P5 just by having a quiet race. Then a little bit of a gap back. Sargent, despite his half-second penalty, keeps P6, which is a great result. Higgsy 7th. Whack is in 8th. I think he'll be disappointed with that. Fluffy, but who could have won, is in 9th. Scotty in 10th. Eli, who was in the top 5, finishes 11th. 12th, behind El Ian, and then we had Deco and someone else. I can't remember because the race restarted already. To be fair, they all raced a lot better than I did in that one. I was like 7th on the final lap, and then no, the second to last lap, and then I finished last by 10 seconds because I span. So I finished with 0 points and started last in the feature. And then I span 2 more times in the feature, but still finished 9th. So yeah, I just posted the ALR rankings. If you go up like to after round 3 of the ALR rankings, I've got so many more points that I have now. I was in the top 20, I think it was like 17th or 15th or something. Now I'm like outside the top 30. Kind of clinging on to the first column in the ALR rankings. I don't want to finish the season not on the left-hand side. That will be embarrassing. Especially because I'm not quite keen on demoting myself at the end of the season. Not after finishing 3rd in Tier 2 last season, you know. Anyway, so hards for Scotty. See, thing is, you want to be on the mediums if you're starting P1 here. The mediums are several seconds a lap faster than the hards. You don't want to get sucked in to battling with people like Fluffy, but Whack has got the right idea starting on the mediums. Whack knows what he's doing around Spa. Fully expect him to get to the front. Mediums for Sergeant as well could do bits. And for Asseldor, so it's an alpha strategy. Senor Fak on the mediums. I had heard whispers that he's going to try a medium soft. I think the only person who could potentially try the medium soft would be Gilles. He's on the hards in that McLaren. Hards obviously for Raf, who is in the worst tyre performing car probably on the grid here. And Perry on the hard. Mediums for Ian and Captain Eli. Softs for Eroticos. What the hell? And hards for Deco. Okay. This is going to be chaos. Love to see it. A little bit cloudy as well, so maybe there's a chance for a few spots of rain. We will see what happens. Scotty with a huge gap at the front for this feature race. It's not even fair, the advantage that you get at Spa. Next time we come, we have to use the 24-hour layout. Doesn't matter that it's so much longer to pit. Like, it's just not fair. Here comes Raf and Perry, who are completely cut off because they had to take the whole chicane for the the rolling start. Everyone's pretty much line astern as we head through turn 1. So let's ride on board with Scotty on his hard tyres. That was a little bit wide. I think you get away with that though. What we need is for the cars to be like an option to make the cars closer together on a rolling start. That's what we need. They could be nose to tail. There's no reason that there needs to be like a huge gap in between all these cars. I think it would make things a lot more exciting as well, and everyone would start on the straight in every track. Almost. So what's going on? Whack on his mediums has caught up to Fluffy and to Scotty, so he needs to start getting a move on and get himself into P1. Fluffy a little bit wide there on the exit. Is definitely going to open the door a bit for Whack. Now this left-hander is where Whack should have so much more grip to try and get a move done and maybe even chuck it into this next corner. I think he was close enough to just absolutely dive there, but he's being careful. Don't want to ruin your race on lap 1, I suppose. Scotty looked like he just went into pause there for a minute. Maybe he had an issue with his wheel, but that has lost him P1. Now, that is exactly what Whack needed, because he's got to run on Fluffy Butt. And this is now the fight for the lead all of a sudden. Scotty dropping behind Higgsy as well, who's suddenly in the mix here. Higgsy on the hards, Whack on the mediums, Fluffy on the softs. A lot of lifting, which we didn't see around that corner in the sprint. And, oh, here comes Scotty with a little cheeky dive. Higgsy sees it, gives him the space and keeps the position, but loses a lot of time to the top 2 now. Seen Fluffy make some pretty audacious moves into turn 1 here. Let's see if Whack does the same to him. He doesn't. He's going to just try and get him on the back straight. And there's a big line of cars. I think it's pretty much as you were. I want to see where Eroticos is on his soft tyres as well. So after... Surely Whack's going to take the lead of the race at this point. Is he going to get a half second for that? They both looked like they were very close to crossing the line there, and they both get a half second penalty for it. So Higgsy could be your race leader by the end of this lap. We've got Scotty absolutely nowhere against Sargent. Sargent's going to surely get that position. Scotty's going to try and... No, he can't even move back alongside under braking. So Sargent on the mediums. Up into 4th. Where is Eroticos? Up to 11th. So he's ahead of Elian. He's ahead of Captain Eli. And he's ahead of Deco. 2 on the mediums, 1 on the hards. They're all pretty close to the front. That might be a penalty. Captain Eli's got another half second. It's just not going well for him around Spa. Let's ride on board with Sargent. Because if Sargent can get past Higgsy before the top 2 serve their penalties, Sargent could become the leader of this race. Oh, they're side by side. Whack trying to go the long way around. No, he's getting pinched to the inside. And it's going to be a difficult one for him to get that there. But Higgsy is right up the back of both of them now because of that attempted move. So they're both definitely losing these 2 positions now. because of that squabbling. I always think my mantra is, if you've got a half-second penalty, stop trying to fight for position, because you're fighting for time at that point. So there's P1 and P2 gone, and now Sargent on his mediums is just one overtake away from taking the lead of this race, being in a great position to build a nice gap. It looks like, with the cloud coverage, the track temperature should be fairly low, which also, oh, a bit of contact, it's alright, between the two Jags as well. Fluffy Butt losing that spot to Whack as well, probably because he came in too hot there. So Whack up into third on his mediums, not the highest placed medium runner now, and here comes Fluffy with a late braking into the corner, but he just doesn't have the tyres to do anything with it. And Higgsy's looking fairly comfortable here. So yeah, medium soft could potentially work, but we do have 7 weather slots. This is just one of the weather slots, the first one. We would need a lot more weather slots with overcast skies and other things that would stop the track from heating up so much that it starts to wear the tyres at the usual rate. But this is a good start for everyone who wants to manage the tyres. Got Scotty down in 6th, Giles is still in 7th, Perry's worked his way past Raf, and Raf is losing a spot now to Rotikos on his soft tyres. You'll be wondering what's going on. So that's P1 versus P2 versus P14 from the sprint race there. What's Perry doing? He's trying to get his way around Scotty and Giles. Scotty really not having a good time in this feature race, keeps dropping back. A bit wide there as well. Not really enough for Perry to go for a move, or is it? Well, Scotty just lets him through, to be honest. And now Scotty's got this half-second penalty that he's going to serve, so he's going to drop him behind Erotikos here, who should have absolutely no bother getting through anyway. Even the long way around, right? Oh, there's no track for him to drive into. Yeah, look at that. Oh, he's not going to do it. He goes a little bit too deep, actually. All this fighting. Oh, Scotty just getting a bit of a bump there from Raf as well. And as a result of that little bump, so Raf struggling a bit with the traffic here. Elian gets past him. So at the front, got some carnage going on. Sargent and Whack pretty close together, still haven't managed to close down on Higgsy too much. Erotikos with the fastest lap, only a 2:20, so that's going to come down by several seconds before the end of the race. Whack going incredibly deep there, trying to get a really fast exit, but Sargent covering that off super well. And this is great news for Higgsy. The two medium runners are squabbling, and he's just got quite a comfortable lead at this point. Oh, that's surely another penalty for Whack. Dirty air. Difficult to go up Pole Rouge with dirty air. Yep, there's another half second. Fluffy was quite far behind, but again, Whack needs to stop getting the position and start just trying to get some time on the board, just a normal infield section, because you don't need to really be lapping in the 2:20s. I think that is not the best pace on these mediums at the start of the race. Perry's up in a 6th now, he's got past Giles. Just a pretty straightforward overtake there on his hard tyres. Gets through up into 6th, and he's going to try and chase down Asseldor now, who's stuck a little bit behind Fluffy Butt. So Fluffy's doing alright on the hards here. He's lost a couple of spots, but he's still with the front runners. Higgsy's in by far the best position in this race. Where is Senor Fak? Senor Fak's struggling down in 13th, so he's had an issue somewhere. He's been in 14th. Okay, he's had an issue a lot earlier on. So unlucky for him. He's not going to be doing much. This is quite important for his championship. He came into today 3rd place, not too far off the championship lead after some really solid performances. Did well in the sprint, but he is really cut off the back of everyone in this feature race. And yeah, he's completely squandered this medium stint as well. But his teammates are doing the exact opposite here. Sargent's starting to catch up to him now, though, and has dropped Whack. Whack still has to serve that half-second penalty, which is going to come up in a couple of corners now. Sargent going purple at the moment. So penalty served, here comes Fluffy Butt. A lot of overspeed. Whack isn't really closing him off, so this is going to be an easy overtake in the end for Fluffy. Whack's going to tuck him right behind him, ahead of his teammate Asseldor. But again, they're going to have to do it the hard way and get past this hard runner with a little bit more tyre wear on these mediums now. Oh, Fluffy and Whack both going really deep there. And Whack nearly losing it. There is another position lost for Whack there, so that's 2 positions lost basically because of that half-second penalty that he earned. This is not the Whack at Spa that we're used to seeing, that's for sure. At least he can try and work with his teammate now. Maybe a little bit of bump drafting to try and get past. But at the front, it is super close between Sargent and Higgsy now. Higgsy not really going defensive here. I'd be a little bit worried about Sargent going for a move if I was him, but Sargent's actually going for the bump draft, so Sargent is playing the clever game here. He is thinking, let's try and stay as far ahead as possible from Fluffy Butt. Maybe he knows Fluffy Butt's on the hards, so he knows he's not really going to be closing the gap to these two if they start working together. Interesting strat. Working with the Audi against against the P3 guy who's your teammate. But you got to work with who's around you at the time, right? You don't really get a choice. Now Perry has caught up to the Alphas, so maybe he'll be trying a move on Asseldor fairly soon. Quite high tyre wear on Whack's car compared to his teammates. Perry's hards are looking, well actually they're wearing quite quick for hard tyres, to be honest. Now what are we going to see? We're probably going to start seeing people peel in. Maybe a couple of medium runners at the end of lap 7 if they're having a bad time. 8 maybe, 8 and 10, 9 and 9. Yeah, 8, 9 and 10 I think are the laps that most people will pit. Unless we see some unique strategies. Perry's not actually that close at the moment. And Sargent is just happy to stay pretty much behind Higgsy here. Get a bit of benefit of the slip here into the final corner. And he'll get the benefit of the slip in the next 30 seconds of track as well. Yeah, lapping in the 21s, 20.8, 21.2. Perry is in the 19s. Oh, a little bit deep there for Higgsy. Now, again, this is quite similar to the previous lap. Actually, Sargent's got way more overspeed than the previous lap. It would actually be in Sargent's interest here to oh, he's kind of killed his overspeed. He's going to get it back again. I think he needs to try and get ahead of Higgsy. He is in 6th gear pretty early on though, so he is fuel saving. Maybe that's why not. He's not. He wants to save as much fuel as possible. The Jag is very thirsty on its fuel if you just drive it normally, and that means you lose a few positions in a pit stop if you just push flat out in a feature race, which is what I'm blaming on my bad season. Having a fuel save, you have to kill so much of your time. I don't have much pace to begin with. Perry with a half-second penalty, so he's got past Whack, and he's probably going to lose that again. He's nearly lost it anyway. He saves it. Here comes Whack. Perry covering it off a little bit there. What's triggered you? What have we seen? Right, so I think Sargent's started to lose his ability to really cling on to Higgsy here, because his tyres are reaching around 50% wear now on these mediums. I feel like it's coming back a little bit to Higgsy. He's going to obviously start catching up on this back straight, but look how much better Higgsy took that though. He probably gained about 3 or 4 tenths there, and immediately goes deep. So no one is coming in for a super early stop. Where's Eroticos actually? He should, oh yeah, he needs to come in. Look at those tyres. He's dropped back down to 11th. He's going to try and make his way into the pits. Oh, nearly hits the red tyres. But he comes in. I don't know what he's going to do now. Hards to the end. Could work. I mean, the undercut's pretty massive here because of the high tyre wear, essentially. So he could get a nice undercut on people. And the hards don't wear too badly. Here comes Sargent again. How early is he shifting into 6th here? Not early at all, to be honest. Higgsy's feeling a little bit under pressure, and Sargent is decided to go for it this time. And he manages to get it turned. Is Higgsy just going to take that position back? This is why he wasn't really wanting to have a go, because they've both just lost about a second there to Fluffy Butt, and he still hasn't got the position. It's all risk versus reward. You have to be pretty certain. I mean, he'd had that move completely sewn up if he hadn't gone deep into the corner, to be honest. So it was the correct move to try and do. Yeah, I always feel a little bit more comfortable on the hards. I don't know, I feel like I've got more pace on the hards compared to everyone else. Oh, Higgsy's wide! Is this it? This is just a gift now for Sargent. So they've both given each other a bit of a gift. Now Higgsy, maybe looking over his shoulder a little bit for Fluffy Butt, who is very close behind. This might end up being a jag. 1-2, Higgsy all over the place! Oh, what is going on? Oh no! Oh dear, that is wild. And more! What's going on? Right, I don't have a bloody clue what happened there. Let's ride up on with Fluffy Butt. We're gonna have to rewatch this about 5 times. Higgsy loses it, then loses it, hits Fluffy. Fluffy's off track. Fluffy can't really do much else at that point. He's out of control of his car. There's Astor, who puts Fluffy into the wall. That is wild. Okay, let's watch it from Higgsy's point of view. I've never seen someone lose it like that in that corner. And then he's in the gravel and he's completely span it round and he's facing the wrong way. Look at all these drivers getting past. This is wild. Okay, and what about Asseldor? It looks like he's come out of this in 2nd, despite all that. Look how far back Asseldor is coming into this corner. So Fluffy's off now. Now Asseldor's like, what the hell do I do? Not much he could have done there. Definitely not much he could have done there either. So there is a lot of drivers promoted a couple of positions there, including Eli, who's up into 8th, despite his 7 billion penalties. Senor Fax trying to recover. You got Fluffy Butt down in 11th, just not moving. He's probably like, what the hell has happened there? Sargent has a massive lead. An absolutely huge lead now because of all that. So what's he going to do? Obviously he's going to carry on for at least one more lap. If I'm him, I'm trying to go 9-9, I reckon. You don't want to be undercut. Some people will come in at the end of the next lap. Asseldor is also on the mediums. Wack is also on the mediums. Giles is in off his hard tyres. He's going to try a massive undercut, which I think is going to work. The highest driver on the hards is Perry. And Elian is suddenly up in 5th as well. And Raf is up into 6th, despite having a bit of an anonymous feature race so far. So it's going pretty alright for a lot of the championship contenders. Giles is in the pits now. You got Deco coming through, you got Fluffbutt coming through. Eroticos came onto medium, so he is 2 stopping here, which means he should be comfortably ahead of Giles coming out of the pits here, despite having been a few seconds back when he entered. Or has he fuel to the end? Is that enough fuel for the end? No, it's not. No, it's not. Nowhere near. Because Giles in the McLaren has gone 96%. And here comes Gilles out of the pits. Gilles also on the medium. Oh, Rotikos with a half second as well. It's a good strat for Rotikos, I reckon, if he can make it work. I don't know if he's going to make the mediums work that long. We will see at the end of the race. Where are all the cars? There we are. So Senor Fak is catching up after his issues earlier on. He is catching up to the pack. So we will see what he does. Scotty's not too far back either. The only ones that are in the absolute mud now are Higgsy, Deco, Fluffy Butt. Oh, well, even more in the mud. And then we have Gilles and Rotikos on the mediums trying to do the mother of all undercuts on everyone. So let's see what Sargent does. Is he going to carry on at the end of this one? Looks like Perry's got past Whack as well. Sargent's going again. So what about this big queue of cars? Asseldorf carries on. Perry is in. Whack and Elian and Raf and Captain Eli carrying on. Fat carries on. So it's just Perry coming in. So this is good news for Perry with the undercut. If he could, but the problem is the people coming in too early are going to be crying at the end of this race. So Rotikos served his half second. He's still comfortably ahead of Gilles at the moment. Gilles might go for a move here on the inside. We'll have to see. The door's left open, but actually there wasn't an opportunity there. So are these two quick enough to get the undercut done on Perry? That is the question. Perry is refueling now. A lot of fuel having to go in. 79% he's got. When you think of Rotikos on 75%, sounds about right. Gilles trying to move around the outside here of turn 1. And there's Perry in front of both of them. So this has worked out beautifully for Perry. Maybe Gilles a little bit held up potentially. So Gilles gets past Rotikos. Higgsy is coming out now, just ahead of Fluffy Butt, who they were fighting at the very front. Now it's not. And so let's see what's going on. Sarge is in the 21s. Asdor's in the 21s. Whack is in the 22s with a half second penalty again. 21s for these guys. And then Perry's just come out. Gilles just did an outlap. A 21 for Rotikos with his half second penalty. Shows how much quicker he is at the moment, but could have been even faster still. So he might come out in a lot of traffic when the front guys pit. Sargent just enjoying a lot of clear air here. 21.5, pretty solid pace considering the tyre wear. I think this might be the right time to come in. I think the final lap would be painful if he stays out for one more on the mediums, which I just don't think is necessary, to be fair. No, he's going to milk every last drop of tyre life out of those mediums. Asdor carries on as well. Whack is carrying on, but Elian goes into the pits, which gives Raf a good run on Whack straight away. Captain Eli in as well. So let's see what Raf can do. Raf has to stay out usually a lap or two longer than everyone else because of the tyres, but still doesn't really lose out on time due to that bloody tank. Look at that, he's got at least 10% more fuel than Whack at the moment. Up the hill pretty solid, not just having any troubles, not having to lift. Yeah, not able to put in a challenge on Whack at the moment. So Perry is still the highest of the guys that have pit. Then you've got Gilles and Rotikos has got ahead of El Ian. So this was a really good undercut from Rotikos if he could make it work. Eli's down in 11th, still ahead of Higgsy and Deco and Fluffy Butt, but he's basically at the back of a bit of this train, trying to warm up his tyres. and might get a bit of an undercut done on some of these guys who've stayed out. We will have to see. Sargent at 22.2 that last lap, exactly the same as Asseldor. 23 for Wack, 22.8 for Raf. And then, yeah, Perry didn't outlap. A 19.7 for Gilles, so this is pretty huge. Erotico's at 20.5, not too far behind him. So, Gilles is going to be the man who's probably going to get a huge undercut on a lot of people here. Might have an outside shout at a podium if he can manage the tyres for the end of the race, which would be good for his championship. He's thinking about Raf, who's still out. I reckon he should be ahead of Raf when Raf makes his pit stop. But then he's not going to have the tyre advantage, is Gilles. Raf is going to have the tyre advantage for the rest of the race. We will see. Oh, something's going on here. Raf has got past Wack. Let's see where that happened. Is it just on the straight? A no frills overtake, probably. Yeah, Wack a little bit wide on the worn tyres. Worn mediums, clearly not as good as the hards at this stage of the race. So surely Sarge is coming in this time. To be honest, his tyres didn't really wear on this lap. He is coming in. Astor with his half second. Carries on again. Okay, maybe he's going to try and do medium soft. Raf's carrying on again. Wack's carrying on again. What is this? Senor Fak is carrying on again. Look at the rear tyre though. That is not... I would not feel comfortable staying out on that rear tyre. Scotty's in. So now, it's going to be a question of Perry and Gilles at P7 and P8 right now. Do they get ahead of Scotty? Almost certainly. Do they get ahead of Sargent? Probably not. He had quite a big lead, but he did stay out a long time. What is this lap? Is this the fastest lap for Perry? It is. It's an 18.7, so massively quicker than what anyone else has done so far. Sargent's finished putting in his fuel, but Perry is ahead. Sargent's just coming out now. Is he going to be ahead of Gilles? He is going to be ahead, but Gilles might be able to get him with the speed difference coming out of the pits. As we go up the hill, and now Sarge has a pretty difficult task for the next maybe 5 laps on these hard tyres. And there's nothing he can do here unless he brakes really late into the corner. Gilles has got it covered. Gilles into... oh, yeah, he gets it. Yeah, quite straightforward there for Gilles. What about Eroticos? Eroticos on kind of one, a little bit starting to wear. Should still have a good little advantage over Sarge here. Oh, unless he gets a penalty there. That was a little bit wide. Yeah, half second. Penalty's just ruining everyone's races today. Higgsy trying to recover from 11th. Scotty's down in 12th, but on the medium, so he should at least have pace for the rest of this one. Same with Deco. Fluffy Butt still hasn't even come in. I don't know what strategy Fluffy's trying to do here. Maybe he's just trying to wait for some rain. Asseldor carries on again. Raf is in. Wack is carrying on. Senor Fak is in. So I'm assuming the Alphas are going to try the medium soft here. And Perry should be comfortably ahead of all of them. I reckon Gilles will be as well. Will Sargent be? I think Sargent should be. So Raf may be coming out around about where Eroticos is. That's my prediction, I'm sticking to it. The thing is, Raf only needed to put in 47% fuel, and he's basically put in, what, 25% in that pit stop? And that's why he's still come out ahead of Eroticos. He is behind Sargent, but I think on the fresh mediums, Sargent's on hard tyres. It's going to be a question of, can Sargent hold him up? Probably not. Maybe for a couple of corners. And this is a catch-22 position for Sarge as well. So, on the hard tyres, you know that you don't have the speed of a lot of the guys around you. If you start battling, you're going to lose a lot of time, and then other people on the quicker tyre are going to catch up to you and probably overtake you. So if you like sacrifice this one position for the overall race time, it does help you at the end more often than not. So this was probably what he's thinking of right here, or he's just thinking, you're not getting past. It's one of those two. It is hurtful to the pride to just let someone pass without much of a fight. I think he's not going to make it easy for him, but he's not going to make it hard, I reckon. It's the only way you can think about it. If you're going to start on the alternate strategy and start on the softer tyres, you're already at a pace disadvantage because the softer compound that you start on will wear quicker at the start of the race because A, you're fighting with people, and B, you've got more fuel in the tank, so it wears the tyres a little bit quicker. So if you add all that in together, sometimes you could do one lap less than if you did the opposite way and you started on the harder compound. So you have to really think about your race time all the time throughout a race if you're doing that. If you're doing the normal strategy, you can just go hell for leather. Here comes Raf around the outside, as we have the Alphas finally into the pits. And that is an overtake 4P5 for Raf. I reckon he's probably going to get the undercut done on the two Alphas here. Let's go back with Senor Fak on his soft tyres. He's put on softs until the end, which is what I reckon the Alphas are going to be doing as well. Look how much more fuel they're putting in compared to what Raf put in a lap ago. Eli a little bit deep there. And that is an overtake for Senor Fak, and here comes Asseldor. Fak is going to try and get him into Eau Rouge. They have dropped a long way back for staying out so long, lapping in the 23s at the end of that stint. And he is on the softs though, so this is actually a fairly decent position for Asseldor to at least get maybe 5th, because Rotikos I think is going to have to pit again. Maybe he could even get 4th because Sargent's on the hards. Could Asseldor. I think Senor Fak is going to be struggling at the end. He came in a lap earlier. 5 times tyre wear is no joke. He has to have the most gentle stint on those soft tyres, Senor Fak, to finish at the top 8, I reckon. So, after everyone's pit, this is how it looks. Perry, a very comfortable P1, maybe 3 seconds ahead of Gilles at this point, who himself has a similar lead over Raf. Then we got Sarge, the highest driver on the hard tyres. Then we got Rotikos, who did that huge undercut. He was outside the top 10. Now he's in P5. Is he going to be able to make the end of the race? We will have to see. Then we have Elian holding up the soft runners. There's Senor Fak just ahead of Asseldor. Both of them trying to get ahead of this guy on the hard tyres. So he's holding them up quite a lot at this point. Is he going to send it? I'd be sending it. No, not yet. He doesn't need to send it because this is very easy, but he's having to lift there, which is going to kill a lot of Fak's speed, and also all that battling. Like I said, he needs the smoothest stint to make this strategy work to Senor Fak. Is that little bit of battling, which is probably going to be followed by a bit more battling with Asseldor here, might not be doing him many favours. But it is as you were. These two need to really try and get the fastest lap on this next lap. The point is there for the taking. And 18.6 is super beatable on the softs. Let's see a little bit further up. Is anyone catching up? I think Raf might be able to catch up to Gilles before the end of the race. So keep an eye on that one. We've got Asseldor with fresher tyres than Senor Fak, but only by a lap. Well, he needs to get the move done, I reckon. Because I think he should be able to drive away from Senor Fak with that extra lap of life. And he really needs to think about the top 5 here, Asseldor. Started the championship fairly well. Not really put in a championship fight at all though, which is a little bit of a surprise for me. But again, Just going to blame it on the Alpha here. Here he goes on the inside of Senor Fak. Really nice overtake, covers off the inside, up into 6th. And Senor Fak already, look at the difference in the tyre life. That is 1 lap difference, but he's definitely at 40% on that rear left. That is, he's not. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna go well. Oh, Eli nearly losing it there. He might get P8 back off Elian. Elian with the most confusing. Right, Fluffy Butt did 14 laps on the hards. He's gonna go on the softs. Maybe he's gonna get fastest lap. That's what he's decided he wants to do after his couple of spins that we saw him do. So anyone, yeah, Raf is pretty close to Giles now, and with much fresher tyres as well. So I think Raf is going to be in a really great position to get P2 here. Giles not, remember these are the top 2 in the championship. Raf came in with what, a 3-point lead over Giles? So Giles will be fighting really hard to keep Raf behind. Doesn't have to just yet. Something's happening a bit further back. I think Eli's lost that position to Elian. Oh God, these two need to not be together on the grid. I'm going to put them in different tiers next season just so that I stop getting their names mixed up. Fastest lap there for Raf in 18.4. So we'll see if that gets beaten by the soft runners. Asseldor specifically, I don't think he has beaten it. Asseldor did an 18.465 compared to a 432. So this looks like it's going to be one-way traffic for Raf. Unless he messes up Radion, which he doesn't. Into 6th gear very early, which is stopping him from actually pulling alongside Giles at this point. I don't know why he's decided to do that. Maybe he really needs to aggressively fuel save. Oh, Giles a bit deep. Not much Raf could do there though still. Recovered well, did Giles. Now Giles having to cover off the inside. There's going to be 3 laps of heavy defending for Giles, I reckon. Which might bring Sargent a little bit back into it. This is around about the time when some of the early stoppers are going to start struggling, and people like Sarge are going to benefit a bit more. But Raf has managed to get himself on the inside here, and there's absolutely nothing Giles could do without sending his car into, well, off the track essentially. So Raf is up in P2 now and should be able to drive away. I think it's going to be a bit difficult for him to catch up to Perry though. Perry's absolutely played a blinder in this one. From 10th to 1st. Erotico's tyre check. I mean, you can just hear the screeching. It's not going well. He's still fairly close to Sarge. Sarge is doing fantastic here on these hard tyres. He's not been caught by anyone. There's Asseldor. You got Senor Fak. He's down a couple of seconds slower than Asseldor. He's still got a little bit of life left, but 3 laps left after this one. It's going to be a tall order compared to the tyre life of Asseldor, who's also going down pretty quickly. I mean, it might not even be good for Asseldor to reach the finish. He might start falling back as well. So Eli's in a good position. Let Senor Fak past on the fresh tyres, but the tyres are already not very fresh. Then you got Elian. Higgsy starting to recover a little bit. He's back in the top 10. Whack on the soft tyres down in 11th. Set a 19.1 the previous lap. What's this going to be? Even slower. So he's not having a good time on this second stint in the traffic, losing positions and all that kind of stuff. Let's see. Giles has dropped off a little bit off the back of Raf now, which we kind of expected. 1.3 seconds slower than Raf on that lap. Raf half a second down on Perry, but now he's got some clear air and he's got better tyres. There is an outside chance that Raf can catch Perry if Perry can't manage towards the end of the race there. And then there's a pretty big gap down to this little battle. So let's stick with Asseldor on the soft tyres, catching Eroticos on the mediums. He's started to, well, he's hanging on to the back of Sargent on the hards. So P4 insights for Lord Asseldor here. nice that they tried a different strategy. Medium soft is not one that many cars can do. I think it's definitely the MR cars only. And here's Eroticos struggling slightly. Astrodor might be able to go for a bit of a dive here. Decides not to, backs out a bit early. Keep the pressure on Eroticos. Oh, look at the overspeed out of that corner. Still side by side here. This is not going to be good for either of the tyres. And Astrodor is going to win that one. Eroticos with 2 laps to go with the tyres looking like that. I think his tyres are going to be completely red by the end. Senor Fac's rear tyres are looking exactly the same as Eroticos', but his compounds are even softer. I mean, if I'm Eroticos, I'm probably pitting right now. Just trying to get the fastest lap, because this is going to result in many spins. Once your rear tyres go fully red, you are completely and utterly screwed. But he's still carrying on. He's thinking, P7. So let's see what his lap looks like compared to Eli. So he's done a 20.8 compared to a 21.2, so still technically faster. The thing is, with the rear tyres, you don't lose the time with the wear on the rears that you do with the fronts. What you lose is when it goes wrong, it goes horribly wrong, and you're in the wall and you've got loads of damage and your race is completely ruined. But if you can keep it on the track, you don't actually lose that much time with the rear tyre wear. Which is why MR cars have been so good lately, because obviously they wear the rears and the FR cars wear the fronts. I was wondering if we were going to get a bit of a physics change actually, and we didn't. I was expecting a physics change kind of because we've got the Dunlop tyres now, so maybe there could have been a question of they wanted the tyres to perform a little bit differently in the game, but they obviously didn't care about that. And I think we're in the middle of like a GT World Series at the moment, so they don't want to make any big changes. So maybe in January there might be some big bop updates. You know, they like to tinker. Maybe it'll be right after we've made our car selections for season 21. So Eli Fak is still holding his own, but look how the tyre wear is ticking down. Eroticos is still clinging on to the back of these battles, but let's stick with Astrodor here, because he is pretty close to Sarge. Let's have a quick look at Raf. Raf's nowhere near Perry still, so there is no charge for the lead at this late stage. I think Sarge might be safe here. I think Astrodor's strategy was really good. The downside of it is you get undercut by a lot of people and you have to overtake them on track. Eli looks like he's got past Senor Fax somewhere. Oh, this is danger zone now. He's just going to lose traction through here. He's not even anywhere near full throttle and he still can hardly make it round the corner. This is going to be rough, very rough for Senor Fac. I think he knows it. He's not defending because he has nothing. He has nothing to defend with. And his teammate's not, well, his teammate's pretty far behind. Let's see if he can actually nurse these tyres home. I don't think he's going to be able to. So, starting his final lap, already on his final lap, is Perry in the GR Supra ahead of Raf and then ahead of Gilles. A very, very familiar podium. P4 is super unfamiliar. Astrodor is right on the back of Sargent as we head round turn 1. Eroticos managing to stick it on these mediums somehow. A soft medium strategy for Eroticos. And he was outside. Oh dear. So really wobbly outside of that corner, and now he's gonna spin in turn 1. If Fac doesn't finish last, I'd be shocked. Complete 180 as well. It's always nice when you're having a bad race and you just get an easy position like that. That's what everyone will be thinking as they drove past him there. Like, oh, okay, I've got another couple of points at least. I've been in the wall 5 times and I got 30 seconds worth of penalties, but at least I got that one positions. Asseldor, all over the back of Sargent, but does have that half-second penalty. He'll have got that through over Rouge and probably with the bad tyre wear and the dirty air, both playing a factor in it. So Sarge looking really good for this P4. Eroticos has no one really around him kind of challenging for position, unless Captain Eli can catch him at the end of this race on these relatively fresh, hard tyres. Astor might start dropping back on this last lap as well. I think he's probably just got enough in it. But yeah, I think we might even have some people run out of fuel. That's always a possibility in the longer tracks like Spa. I did it once. Had to have Perry bump me across the finish line when we were teammates at the I think it was the Beetle. Yeah, so Eli was saying all those half-second penalties cost him at the end. Well, he'd have definitely had Eroticos on this lap, and I think he'd have definitely had Asseldor on this lap, so a top 5 potentially. But let's go with Perry coming into the final hairpin, not hairpin, the bus stop chicane here. He is going to take a really good double win at Spa. And Raf, a solid result for him. Oh, he's out of fuel! He's out of fuel, he's going to make it across the line. He did underfuel massively, and that's why we saw him in 6th gear going up Eau Rouge. Gilles with a good solid P3 there, keeps as close to Raf as possible. Then we got Sarge in P4. Astor keeps his P5 in the end. Pretty decent strategy for him, and it worked out way better than for Wack. Eroticos P6 with his very unorthodox strategy. Eli 7th, Higgsy 8th, could have won it. Wack P9, Scotty in 10th, Deco, after a big setback at the start, we didn't see him at all, he's 11th, and then we've got, well, Eli's definitely been in the wall somewhere. What's happened to him? He's out of fuel! Oh! Andy had damage, just to add to that, by the way. So, he's still, despite being out of fuel and off the track, going to finish ahead of Senor Fak. Now, the question is, Senor Fak on completely dead tyres, does he beat Fluffy Butt on super fresh softs? Fluffy was like a second ahead of being lapped by Perry. There is a really good chance Fluffy Butt beats Senor Fak here. Senor Fak, yeah, having to go super slow around here. Andy's off track, Andy's got a penalty. This is the battle I came here to see. Fak with his penalty, I think that might just be enough. It might just be enough. There's going to be maybe like less than 5 seconds in it by the end. He has to not spin around this he's not even on the throttle here. So he's at the bus stop. As long as he doesn't spin outside the bus stop, which is very possible, I think he's got this P12. Yeah, came in 1 lap too early, quite clearly. Well, probably 2 laps too early. That Audi does get P12. Fluffy Butt, who was also showing some really good pace here, gets reset. You can't do that. And yeah, that's the end of that. So, standings. I don't think there was any stewards. I can't remember. It was quite a while ago. The stewards have been very, very quick to get their results out this season. So, at the end of that, Raf has extended the lead with a pair of P2s. I think he got some bonus points sprinkled in there as well. 174. Gilles with a P4 and a P3. 163. Perry moves up into 3rd with 139. He's 35 points off of Raf. And Senor Fak has dropped to 4th. 37 points off of Raf with a P3, which was good, and a P12, which was a disaster. Maybe making it a little bit too difficult to challenge unless you can have a fantastic round at Kyoto, which is where we are later today. So that's it from me. Thanks for watching.